So let's talk a little bit about the financing side of 45L, where most people go immediately. So the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, really shook things up across many different industries in many ways. But for the home construction industry, we got our 45L tax credit extended for 10 years, which is phenomenal. However, the tax credit changed, and in many cases, that's going to reduce compliance rates for builders, depending on how they were building, but it will lead to a drop in 45L compliance and 45L capture across the country. So how much is that drop? It's very difficult to say with certainty. The IRS doesn't publish countrywide capture rates for 45L. However, we have really good perspective into these numbers, both for 2022 and 2023. For 2022, these are estimates based on data from our software, based on conversations with our rater partners like Arxis, as well as with builders that we partner with and talk to directly. And across that, we believe that the full market capture for all homes in 2022 was around $500 million of 45L tax credit capture across all builders. Looking towards 2023, where we are now just about to enter Q3, we can look, because the tax credits changed and everything needs to be actually certified through a HERS rating software, we have even better visibility now into capture rates and compliance rates in 2023. So if we take the first half of the year and we extrapolate across the full year, we are expecting to see just over $250 million in 45L rebate or tax credit capture, I should say. So all told, we're looking at nearly a 50% reduction in total tax credit capture, which is about $242 million in loss for builders across the country. If we look at this as a case study instead, just looking at one just anonymous top 10 builder that we work with, just to see, hey, is this 242 million loss? Is this going to be spread across the whole industry? Is it going to be certain builders are hit harder than other builders? It's a bit of a mix. It will be spread across the whole industry. There are certain builders that are positioned well as Energy Star 3.1 builders that may not lose tax credits, may even gain tax credits, get a higher percentage of their homes to be compliant. This particular top 10 builder we looked at is going to show about a decline in $16 million in tax credits, just based on fewer homes capturing because of the new Energy Star requirements. And that's despite building significantly more homes in 2023. So what's causing the drop? Well, obviously there's been a compliance criteria change. That's what was included in the 10-year extension as part of the IRA. I expect most people on this call, if not everyone, already knows that. The criteria changed from a ResNet publication 002, which didn't really have any required certification attached to it, to an EPA Energy Star 3.1 certification for most states. There's some special regulations for California and others, but generally across the board, Energy Star 3.1. And that comes with it a very specific compliance path that you need to follow. The homes need to be rated, typically with a ResNet HERS rating. So that's a very official process. It needs to go through several layers of QA and registrations. And what that means is that there are no alternative compliance path through accounting firms or other. And that's something that a lot of builders relied on in past years, partnering with accounting firms or other 45L specialist firms to help get homes to pass, maybe even looking at their whole portfolio and pushing through as many homes as could be met for the tax credit. That is no longer an option. These homes are going to have to be Energy Star 3.1 certified through raters. So for a lot of builders, that's the single most important item that's going to be causing a compliance drop. And then, of course, along with Energy Star 3.1 comes the mandatory requirements. So meeting the performance thresholds is one thing. You need to build a pretty high-performing house, but there are also a checklist items of prescriptive requirements that builders need to meet and understand. And sometimes those checklists can create compliance gaps or mean homes slip through the cracks if certain things aren't done that need to be done. And I think Thomas will talk a little bit more about some of that stuff that we're seeing and how to avoid some of that stuff as we go on. Compliance is absolutely within reach. It is not out of the question, not even difficult to imagine that builders will be able to get back up to those compliance numbers that we were seeing with that, $4,500 million capture across the country. I think we could even go higher than that. One little tidbit here that's interesting to look at. We ran a quick data dump on Ekotrope homes. So, most of the HERS ratings in 2023 so far. And what we've specifically pulled out were homes that are passing the Energy Star 3.1 ERI target. So from a performance perspective, they are meeting the target. However, they weren't certified to Energy Star 3.1 because they either didn't go through the process or didn't meet one or several of the mandatory requirements. So these homes, are likely potential candidates for low-hanging fruit because they already meet the performance and they just need to meet some of the prescriptive requirements. And we can see there's a lot of homes here. So this is almost 23,000 homes across the country in just half of a year. So that's $56 million in potential tax credit. If we extrapolate that, we're over $100 million in these types of homes for the course of 2023. That, at least a good chunk of these may be an easy capture. If we look at these state by state, we see some of the dark green states like Texas and Colorado and Minnesota, also Massachusetts. So if we break out those kind of top 5 states where we're seeing these homes that meet the Energy Star performance targets but weren't certified and therefore aren't eligible for the tax credit, the top 5 states we're seeing are Colorado, Massachusetts, Texas, Minnesota, and Arizona, in that order in terms of total potential dollar capture. But also interesting to look at is these dark blue bars, which represent the percentage of the HERS ratings done in that state that meet this criteria. So looking at Massachusetts and Minnesota specifically, over 75% of the HERS ratings done in those states meet the Energy Star performance criteria, but aren't certified for Energy Star 3.1. So potentially interesting states to look in if you build there. Of course, there may be challenges associated with the mandatory requirements, so it's not just pencil work that needs to be done in some cases, but worth investigating.